'Cause I'm tired of living life this way. Feels like it's never gonna change. So it's down the road I go. You're gonna hear me coming, just listen for the banjo.
Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. Unique, New York. The Human Torch was denied a bank loan. We're live. All right. What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Who Gives a Dram, episode 93. We're back at you on this beautiful Monday, I hope. I hope it's beautiful today, but Monday, August 29th, 2022. We're here with another whiskey review. We got some topics that I want to touch on that happened in the past few days, so hopefully, they're still recent. I'm recording this on Sunday, August 28th, so, things change, man. I kind of like this 2 episodes a week thing because it's really not hard to record for a bit. Oh, God, I hope my laptop doesn't die. We're at 20%, ladies and gents. 20% capacity on the laptop. Hopefully it doesn't die. I like this 2 episode a week type of thing because I can stay on top of like TV shows mainly because like if I record for a Thursday, I can do Game of Thrones a few days earlier than if I were to do once a week. And we got Thrones on tonight, episode 2. Gonna be looking forward to that. And I actually watched what I think is the best movie of the year this week, and I'm excited to touch on that. She-Hulk episode 2, watched it yesterday, got my thoughts. Some casting news, some people getting canceled, a lot of things we want to talk about, including a whiskey review of one of my favorite lines, one of my favorite consistently released lines in the whiskey game. Elijah Craig, Barrel Proof. I picked up B522 for $74.99. No, I'm sorry, $79.99 the other day. B522 right here, if you're watching on YouTube. So we're going to review this, see how we like it. I broke into it a little bit. It was really hot when I first drank it a few days ago, so we'll see if that holds up here on the pod. Before we actually get into the show, though, make sure you're following me on Instagram, Who Gives a Dram, and BWF Podcast. Make sure you're subscribed on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Both Who Gives a Dram and Bourbon with Friends. Make sure you're subscribed on there. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Make sure you're following along. Leave a rating and review on iTunes as well. It really helps the show. And tell your friends about the 2 best whiskey podcasts on the market. Who Gives a Dram, Bourbon with Friends. Lots of good stuff going on. So I hope everyone had a terrific weekend. I hope everyone had a good end of the week. Got some flack for my top 5 TV shows. Had some people reach out to me saying that I was just wrong, and that's okay. I don't mind if I'm wrong with my opinion, and that's one of the things I actually wanted to get into today is how people are being canceled for their opinions. And you guys might have heard, I'm going to pop this Elijah Craig first. Nice. Get some in the glass, let it air out. You guys might have heard of a guy named Andrew Tate who's been kind of making the rounds on TikTok and Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. You might have heard of him. He's kind of a prolific person. That's really not the best way to describe the guy, but he's very controversial, I suppose. He's very robust in his thoughts. He's not afraid. He's not afraid to not hold back. A little double negative there. He is, he's opinionated and he's divisive, but although he's not really saying anything that's like illegal, like he's planning on murdering somebody, he got banned by Facebook and Twitter and TikTok. And I've been kind of like following Andrew Tate for a little bit, just to kind of like, I've seen the clips and I was like, who the hell is this guy? So I checked out his podcast. Honestly, the guy makes me laugh. I think any normal person can differentiate when someone is turned on for the camera and when someone is just being themselves. Or it's very obvious that Andrew Tate, when he's being recorded, when he's on camera, it's kind of like him times 10. Like he's becoming a hyperbole of himself. He's got this larger than life ego that he depicts on camera, but from everything that I can see, it's totally different off the camera. Now, I'm not saying he's a completely different person on camera. I'm saying he boasts his opinions almost to a degree that he knows people are going to talk about it, and people are going to have opinions and discuss and debate and criticize and get mad at him over it, and that all just brings him views for his online businesses that he's making money off of, and how to make money 101. People say it's not a pyramid scheme. I don't know. It is. Anyone who says they can help you make money online is full of shit. Every single freaking one of them. And if you're a podcaster out there, if someone reaches out to you and says, we can get you these downloads, fucking 10,000 downloads in 30 days, and we can put you on the charts, they're full of shit. They're trying to take your money, and that's that. They might get you shit, but it's going to be fake. I'll never, ever, ever pay for any of that shit on Who Gives a Dram. On any of my shits. I'm not paying for any of that. Followers, views, downloads. I don't give a shit. That's the dumbest thing in the history of the internet, is paying for fake views and fake downloads to give you fake clout. I hate that shit. And you can always tell when something is just like promoted on Instagram or promoted on TikTok, and it's just a bunch of nobodies, fake accounts just flooding these views and these profiles and these videos, and it's just fake. It's not real. Nothing on the internet is real, really. But I try to be as transparent as possible. So like, I see all that shit, and it's just like, dude, you are such a loser. I've seen a few. I'm not gonna name names. No one that I know, but I come across shit on just like TikTok or YouTube or Instagram. It's just, I just say to myself, man, you're not fooling anybody. You're not fooling anybody. I don't know, man. Anyways, I don't even remember how I got onto that subject. But going back to Andrew Tate, right? So he's kind of He's Andrew Tate times 10 on the camera, and that's what got him, quote unquote, canceled. And the whole idea of canceling somebody because they're not saying what you want them to say is really, really scary almost. Like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, they're the 4 biggest platforms that we have as a human race. And the fact that they can just knock Donald Trump off of there, knock Andrew Tate off of there, is just, it's insane to me. Now, they are private companies. They can do what they want. I understand that. So you really can't argue with it. I just think on a principle aspect. And I don't talk politics on here. I don't care. If it was a liberal or someone left-leaning, I would say the same thing. You can't just take people down for stating views that you don't believe in. It's one of the most important freedoms that we have is freedom of speech. So I was really surprised when they canceled Andrew Tate and they took him off of there. I don't disagree or I don't agree with anything that he says. I just it's just entertaining to me. He does make good points when he's actually serious about talking about things, like how men's mental health really isn't that much of a priority in a lot of aspects in life, and I totally agree with that. I think everybody should see a therapist at least once in their lives, even if you think you're completely fine. A, you're not. B, you're lying to yourself, and C, you still should. I saw a therapist a few years ago for some issues I was having, and man, just to be able to talk to someone that had no vested interest in your life was so therapeutic and so I can talk anyway, so like I can fill up an hour of a therapy session like that. Like it's basically like a live one-on-one podcast that never gets released. But to have that freedom and to have that space with somebody who, again, is not your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your cousin, your best friend, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your wife, your husband, whatever. It's to have that connection with someone that you don't know and someone who's looking at your problems objectively rather than with a vested interest is super, super beneficial to yourself emotionally, mentally, physically. Like it lifts something off of you. I remember how good I felt after every therapy session I went to, and I just felt like I was ready to conquer the world. And that's when I started my podcast. So I've conquered the world. But yeah, I'm not saying Andrew Tate's right or wrong. I think he's entertaining. I enjoy his rambling. I enjoy his podcast. I enjoy his content. I think it's funny. I think he does make good points. I just am not for somebody getting canceled and for someone being lifted off of these platforms simply because they are a little obtuse in their delivery of how they're formulating their opinions is really the best way I can state that. I don't know a better way to put it. The fact that they can kick off a former president is insanity. It's insanity. It's such a weird day and age we are living in. But who cares at the end of the day? It's whatever. I will always say what I think on any platform that I'm ever on. And if people disagree with it or people don't like it or it costs me views or downloads, or I don't give two shits. I could care less. Don't watch me then. Get off my shit. All right, well, there's one topic covered. This is the last episode of Who Gives a Dram before the official start of spooky season, and that's a big deal to me. I've talked about this on the podcast before. It is a very well-documented fact that I love fall. I think September, October, November, December are the 4 best months of the year. I think we're coming up on the best part of the year. The weather at night, it's starting to get a little cooler. Every single night it gets a little cooler, a little cooler, a little cooler, until we get to fall, spooky season, September 1st. New England Septembers are weird. They're kind of like New England Aprils, where it's a transition. So the days in September are very hot, but the nights are very cool. Just like April, transitioning from winter to spring. But it's just kind of, whereas we're going from winter to spring and things are warming up, so the humidity comes back and the warm breeze, we're getting from being stupid hot to cooler. So it's a more gradual, deceleration into a lower temperature, a lower pressure index. We're getting into hurricane season, which is lovely, unless we get really bad storms. But the wind, dude, my picture perfect fall day is throwing on like Haunting of Hill House or a scary movie. It's like 1 or 2 in the afternoon. I've got a workout in. I'm feeling good. It's windy and rainy and gray outside. I've got some candles lit, so it's kind of dark, but it's also kind of not. And I'm just watching, like I'm really vested in a new horror show or scary movie. It's like September, October-ish. So it's not freezing outside, but it's also not stupid warm. Maybe like 50 to 60 degrees, somewhere in that area, probably more towards 60 degrees. That's just like, man, I've had a few days, like in years past, where I have that, whether I'm like homesick from work or I have a day off, back when I used to have a weekday off in my older jobs, and I'm just sitting there, I'm like, this is the best. Like, spooky season's here. And then at night, I drink a lot of red wine in the fall and kind of in the winter. So I switch up my, what is 99% whiskey intake. It goes to like 90%, and then I have 10% red wine. Well, I should say 89% whiskey, 10% red wine, whether it's a cab or a blend, and then 1% is miscellaneous, usually like seltzer or something like that. because I do love me a good seltzy. But this is the official last episode before spooky season. I wanted to make that known that I am so excited. And it also means more whiskey releases. Midwinter Night's Dram is coming out soon. I still got 2 bottles behind me, son. One open, one unopened. I got bottles behind me, son. I love Midwinter Night's Dram. And this year it's finished in white port barrels or white something barrels, so it's going to be a little different. Your boy likes different, so I'm, 2 Chainz, I'm different. Yeah, I'm different. Pulled up to the scene with my ceiling missing. Sorry. I like different. I do. I hope it's better. I hope it's just as good as Midwinter Night's Dram was a top 5 whiskey of all time, my opinion. But we got like all the B-Tack will be starting to come out. We'll have all the barrel proof entries. We'll have all the limited editions. We'll have all the pappies and all that shit. It's gonna be fun. This is the best time of the year coming up. So goodbye August. Goodbye August. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. I'm going to boot you out. Come here September. Cuddling season. No more sweaty sex. We're looking at just nice, comfortable, sideways fucking. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. But I did. If you're gonna equate a sex position to the seasons, I mean, you're really you're getting all sweaty in the summer. It's definitely doggy style, 100%. But you get to the fall when you can kind of start fucking with the windows open. I mean, I'm thinking that's like side fucking, Like you kind of just comfortable cuddling, and all of a sudden it happens. Sorry, this is really gonna have an explicit tick next to it. All right, moving on. I wonder how this whiskey's doing. Next subject. I want to touch on She-Hulk episode 2. Watched it yesterday. Wasn't as bad as episode 1. But the CGI on She-Hulk is terrible. And I have a feeling it's not going to look good on Abomination as well. We saw Abomination, but in his human form as Emil or something like that. And the one cool thing I enjoyed about She-Hulk this week was that Bruce Banner, they broke the fourth wall and basically but they basically said, Bruce Banner said, I was a different person back when I fought Abomination. Literally. Kind of saying, oh, that was literally Edward Norton and now I'm Mark Ruffalo. Kind of enjoyed that. And the Hulk went away on that Sakaran spaceship that was in episode 1. So we'll see what that leads to. I didn't mind episode 2. It's just so cringy in some points, and I don't know. It's a half hour once a week. I'll watch it. Mainly for Daredevil at this point, but I'll watch it, and I'll continue to watch it and give you all updates if you guys aren't watching it. I'll do it for you. I'll do it for you. What else do we got here? Oh, big news I saw yesterday or maybe on Friday. Jeffrey Dean Morgan cast in The Boys season 4. So we have Homelander and we have Negan on the same show. I don't think it's known what character Jeffrey Dean Morgan is going to play, but oh god, I hope it's a villain. I hope it's a Soldier Boy-esque character that I hope he has superpowers, first of all, and I hope he's I just hope it's Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Homelander, Soldier Boy, kind of big triangle, with just a big love triangle almost. That would be a dream come true. I stopped watching The Walking Dead right around the time Negan came on the show, and it wasn't anything to do with Negan. It was just getting old. I remember he killed Abraham and Glenn. Spoilers if you haven't watched The Walking Dead. And then a few episodes later, I think I just stopped watching it. I just wasn't interested. And they're still going with episodes now. I remember getting pumped for that show, watching that show back in like freshman, sophomore year of high school. Maybe not that long ago. Maybe junior, senior year of high school. And getting pumped for that. And Sunday nights, we're sitting down on AMC watching Walking Dead. So I still remember that vividly, watching that with Kale and my dad. And they're still going hard with it. And they have a movie coming out and a spin-off show and another spin-off show. Crazy stuff, man. Like, The Walking Dead just needs to die at this point. But to have Jeffrey Dean Morgan cast in The Boys, which is, for my money, the best currently running TV show on television. Nothing comes close to it. Homelander is one of the best, if not the best villains of all time. Movie, film, any type of media. He's one of the best villains of all time. I am so excited to see where they go with season 4 of The Boys. I talked about it on Thursday on my podcast. If you haven't listened to that podcast, go listen to it. I basically take my 5 favorite TV shows of all time and I pair an appropriate whiskey with them. Just something different. I enjoy doing it. So go check that out if you haven't. And yeah, that's so exciting to me. It's The Boys is probably, man, I think I put it as my 3rd favorite TV show of all time. It's going to be hard to top Peaky and Haunting of Hill House. Not impossible, though. We'll see. So that's what I got for that. What else? We're at 12% on my laptop. So I watched what is going to be the movie of the year on yesterday. I watched the full movie. We bought it on Amazon. I haven't seen it in theaters. I haven't seen any clips of it. I had no idea what happened. I just knew it's making a shit ton of money. It just passed Avengers Infinity War for the 6th highest domestically grossing movie of all time. Bonkers to think about. I watched Top Gun Maverick. And without going into too much detail, let me tell you this. I would not be surprised if this gets put up for Best Picture. It is a wonderfully shot film. Everything is on point. The casting was perfect with Miles Teller. As Rooster, having him be Goose's son was just perfect casting. The script was amazing. The acting was incredible. Every single person I cared about every person. Was not expecting to see John Hamm in there. That like, let's talk about salt and pepper, handsome dudes like we talked about a few episodes ago. That's Don Draper. That's just a distinguished, handsome gentleman, and I heard that he has a crank on him. So, more power to you, John Hamm. What I was most impressed with this movie was the cinematography. It would go widescreen, fill up the entire screen for the action scenes, and then go back down to a more formatted fit on the screen for kind of the more emotional, character and dialogue driven scenes. I don't think I've ever seen a movie do that in my entire life. Now, I could be stupid, and there could be plenty of movies that do that. It was very, very like obvious to me. I actually had to rewind the movie at one point. I was like, did they just switch frames? And they did, and it was incredible. I'm sure most people who are listening or watching to this episode have seen Top Gun Maverick, but if you haven't, do yourself a favor and just watch it. I watched Top Gun, the original, a long time ago. I did not rewatch before this movie. I kind of remembered bits and pieces of Top Gun, but you do not have to have watched Top Gun before you watch this movie. It might help to read a Cliff Notes summary of the film, but you kind of get the vibe very early on. And man, just a incredible movie. Jennifer Connelly, I don't know how old she is, but still looking good. Tom Cruise, Scientologist, but still I read a report that he's banking $100 million from this movie, and he deserves it, dude. He produced it. Top Gun is his baby. This is his baby, and the most impressive part of this movie is that this is the first real summer blockbuster we've seen in a long time. I am excluding superhero movies. So Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, I'm not counting in summer blockbusters. Even though they are blockbusters, it's a superhero movie, a Marvel movie. It almost just doesn't count anymore. Like, those are kind of expected to make a shit ton of money. I think people thought Top Gun Maverick was going to be successful. Like, I definitely thought it was going to be successful. I had no idea it was going to crack top 5 domestic releases of all time. That's insane to think about. So, kind of the hysteria behind the film, plus the fact that it's actually really fucking good, I'm banking this as the movie of the year. Definitely banking this as the movie of the year. So, we got to hurry up because my laptop's going to die. Let's get right into the review, guys. Let's get right into the review. Elijah Craig Barrel Proof B522. I'm not going to explain what Elijah Craig Barrel Proof is. We're just going to go right into a review of it. That's why you guys are here, and we're going to just, see if it tastes good or not. Obviously, I've done several episodes on Elijah Craig Barrel Proofs. Go check them out. I have, I think, 9 or 10 bottles of this stuff now. So I'm a big fan of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. I always have been. It's a bit extreme in the profile that I typically like. Like, it's got a bit more oak and almost a bit more nuttiness than I typically enjoy. But Elijah Craig is such a good standard bourbon that it just translates well to the barrel proof option. So Elijah Craig says this should retail for $60. I'm saying anywhere from $65 to $75 is a fair price. Like I said, I paid $80 for this. I think it's worth it. But if you're paying anywhere over $79.99 for these bottles, you're definitely getting price gouged. If you can afford it, though, and if something that you can never find and you want to spend the money on it, more power to you. I'm saying $65 to $75 is a fair MSRP. Anything below $65, you're getting a great deal. Anything above $75, depending, like $79.99, $4 more, not a big deal. But if you're getting up to 90, 100 plus, then you might want to think about it. But if you got $1 million, then I'm sure it don't think about money, and it doesn't make a diff. This is a 12-year-old bourbon. It's not age shaded on the front of the bottle, but it's age shaded on the side. 12 years old, non-chill filtered, so it's a blend of 12. It's 121 proof, 60.5% alcohol by volume, batch B522. Second batch of the year. I haven't had the first batch of the year yet. I haven't been able to. I actually have been able to find it. I actually found it this week, but I didn't buy it because didn't want to pay for it. So I went whiskey. Not gonna say hunting. I went to a liquor store after work that's right down the road from my shop. Earlier in the week, and I saw this on the shelf, and I thought, screw it. I'm gonna buy it, and I'm gonna enjoy it. So I cracked it that night, and it's this is running quick down the glass. I cracked it that night. I remember it being very hot. I think I remember it being very cinnamony, almost like a hot tamale. I think I wrote down. I actually have it in my notes here. Let's see what it says in my notes. Yeah, I wrote down cinnamon, hot tamale, dark cherry, dark oak when I first tasted this. So let's see if that holds up. Don't really go with the color, but I have to note Elijah Craig Barrel Proofs are some of the darkest bourbons on the market, man. This is a 12-year-old aged barrel proof, non-chill filtered. So like this is about as real as it gets in terms of a barrel proof whiskey. This is straight out the bottle or the barrel. And this is definitely an allocated release, along with most barrel proof releases other than Rare Breed. But this is on the same tier as like Larceny. I consider Elijah Craig and Larceny kind of like two of the most popular allocated barrel proof releases of the year. There's obviously other ones, but you can most likely find Elijah Craig somewhere. Larceny's a bit tougher. I just found it for the first time last year. So, but let's get into it. Let's get into the nose here. And right off the bat, oh, that is a lot. Right off the bat, just like one of those things like, yeah, this is definitely barrel proof. That cinnamon comes through pretty significantly. Oak is there. Dark cherry is there. This is cinnamon, dark cherry, and oak to a T. I mean, it's so traditional Elijah Craig barrel proof. It's funny. Like, it's just exactly what you would think when you think of a whiskey being hot. There's a lot of heat on this. The vanilla comes out a bit. I mean, hey, this is a big boy. This is a big hitter. Elijah Craig barrel proofs are big hitters. All right, very robust palates, very robust flavor profiles. This is like a home run hitter in the late 90s and early 2000s in the MLB. This is the Barry Bonds of bourbon, all right? Pungent, almost like all the flavor profiles that you typically see on these whiskey reviews turned up to 20. Kind of like Barry Bonds in his head after he started taking steroids. It is worth noting, though, I think Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame because he was going to be a Hall of Famer before his steroids. He was sick, one of the best players in the league. So, shout out Barry Bonds, man. I still remember when he hit his record-breaking home run. By the way, shout out Albert Pujols. Albert Pujols is about to become 4th on the all-time home run list. He's going to pass Alex Rodriguez, hopefully this week or next week. I think he's 3 or 4 home runs behind him. So, as a Red Sox fan, that makes me happy. But yeah, Barry Bonds all the way on the nose here. So just a big lefty, the big old noggin. And that basically translates to just big oak, big dark cherry, big cinnamon, just on ya. Just like if you were to take them, all those scents, and just go right into your face, like waft them into your face. It's good. So let's drink. What am I at here? I'm at 8%. I should be good. Let's drink some whiskey. Cheers, you guys. Thanks for joining me this week. Episode 93. Schlante. Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. B522. Super duper hot. Very, oh, God. Cinnamon. All cinnamon on the back. It's just straight cinnamon, almost like a hot mint finish. But right on the front of the palate, first sip. If it's Barry Bonds on the palate or on the nose, it's essentially like Mark McGwire on the palate. Like it translates to that steroid era, just big home run hitter. They're so robust. It's like Mark Henry, you know, like the WWE wrestler Mark Henry. That's what this is. This is just someone, oh, hey, 3-6 Mafia, hey, it's going down. Mark Henry. If you're a wrestling nerd, I'm sure you appreciate that reference, but if you're not, then you would just think I'm a fucking moron, and I am. You'd be right. This is just, again, just so many things coming at you at once. It's oak and dark cherry forward with cinnamon. It's like in the Lord of the Rings when they charge, the people charging is oak and dark cherry, and then the elves shooting the arrows over them are cinnamon and vanilla, and almost like a tannic, like a wine flavor, like something that makes your mouth kind of dry. It might be the age, it might be the proof, I don't know. Coats your mouth real well. Yeah, so much cherry on there, dude. Oh, it's just a hitter. Very hot. Very hot. Like, this is a whiskey that This is the first whiskey I've had. It's 4:45 in the afternoon. Wouldn't recommend drinking this at 4:45 in the afternoon. This is like a 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. It's kind of like how the other week we mentioned the whiskey was like an after dinner whiskey. I forgot what whiskey we did, but this is like a meal replacement. Like this is like, all right, if you're just not going to eat dinner, you might as well just have some Elijah Craig Barrel Proof because it's essentially as viscous as a milkshake. It's thick. It leaves your mouth wanting more. Like I feel like I just swished a mouthwash after swishing this in my mouth. Dark cherry, almost like that wine tannic type of palate, but oak and dark cherry are coming through mightily. It's almost a little hot, like it's almost like a little too hot. Like if they could dial back on the cinnamon a bit and really pronounce the oak and dark cherry rather than having the little cinnamon elf arrows coming through. I think that's what makes it so hot. This is definitely a hotter release. Like this is hotter than B521 for sure. And now, I'm not talking about proof because this definitely drinks like 121 proof, but that's usually my ballpark. I love 100 to 120 is perfect for me. This is drinking very similar. It might be drinking a little hotter, but I think it's the palate. It's not the proof that's hot. It's the palate that's hot on this. So this is very good. And especially if you can find it at a good price. I mean, it's very tough to find an Elijah Craig Barrel Proof that is not good. I'm not going to lie. If I have an extra $60, $70, or $80 lying around and I see this, I'll pick it up. But I'm 25 and I'm single and I live by myself. So the amount of times that I want to spend $80 on a Elijah Craig Barrel Proof when I already have 10 other bottles of it, it's starting. The days are coming when I won't buy it anymore. But I'm going to take one more sip. Then I'm going to score it. This would taste fantastic with a drop or two of water. I actually might do that after this. I don't have any water with me right now, but I think I'm going to put a drop or 2 drops of water in this and let it sit for about a minute and see how well it opens up. I guarantee this becomes a fucking cinnamon cherry bomb as soon as you put water in it. I can already tell. I can feel it in my plums. That's a callback to last week's episode. Overall, man, great value. It's going to be kind of hard to find, but as the second release in this year's lineup of barrel-proof whiskeys that Elijah Craig allocates, definitely knocked it out of the park again. Not my favorite, but also not bad. Definitely not bad. This is a very, very, very good whiskey. I'd recommend if you're a whiskey drinker, this is going to be something that you're going to want to buy. If you're a novice, it's going to be very hot. It's going to be very spicy, but that's the chance that you take with a barrel proof, and that's what you have to know going in. If you're experienced, I think you should be able to appreciate the nuanced flavor kind of stacking there is, for lack of a better term, for what's forward and then the things that come in after it. I wish it was just a little less hot on the palate. That's the only critique I have of this, and that's what's going to keep it from being like a upper echelon whiskey here. I'm going to give this a very solid 9.0 on the dot. It's good enough to be in the upper echelon of whiskey that I've had on this podcast. It's not good enough to be above a 9. I wanted to put it right on par with the great whiskeys that we've had on the show, because it is great, but I can't put it with the best of the best because of that one little critique, and that's all it takes is one little critique. So 9.0, the best grading we've given in a while. I'm an Elijah Craig Barrel Proof guy, man. Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, Larceny Barrel Proof, Rare Breed, they're all great. They're all great, and I would recommend picking, if you are a new whiskey drinker and you want to expand your palate, picking up a barrel proof or a cask strength or a full proof, like we talked about last week on the show, is really going to help you expand your palate, and it's going to force your palate and your nose to go past the initial ethanol and alcohol profile and dig deep and really make yourself work as to what you're actually tasting. And remember, there's never a wrong answer. So you could be watching this and disagree with everything I just said, but I'm not wrong because it's all objective. That's going to do it this week, you guys. Sorry, this is kind of a shorter podcast. My laptop's about to die. I'm at 2%. So I appreciate you guys checking out the show. I will be back on Thursday of this week with another kind of just random subject. I'll be checking in on you guys, and make sure you're following me on Instagram, Who Gives a Dram, and make sure you're following BWF Podcasts. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and YouTube to Bourbon with Friends and Who Gives a Dram. Check out the link in my Instagram bio if you want to pick up some Who Gives a Dram merch. It's available. If you want to check out some Bourbon with Friends merch, it's available. And the biggest thing you can do to directly help the show, leave a rating and review on iTunes. That's the best way you can help me. Give me a 5-star review, or give me whatever star review you think I deserve. But if you like the show, leave a review. It boosts us in the algorithm. It really helps a lot. So, again, thank you guys. We'll come back next Monday with another whiskey review. But I will talk to you on Thursday. And until then, always remember, whiskey's the water of life. So let's start living.